أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. ولا تكونوا كالذين نسوا الله فأنساهم أنفسهم أولئك هم الفاسقون. لا يستوي أصحاب النار وأصحاب الجنة أصحاب الجنة هم الفائزون. لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله. وتلك الأمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر. سبحان الله عما يشركون. هو الله الخالق البارئ المصور له الأسماء الحسنى يسبح له ما في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم. صدق الله العظيم.
So we have a fun night planned for all of you, and now we'll get Mufti Abdul Mannan, Pickering Islamic Center's very own, to do the introduction, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I've been running around the center. Alhamdulillah wa kafa wa salamun ala ibadihi alladhina istafa. Amma ba'd. Jazakumullah khairan to all you for making out this evening. It's a busy time of the year. It's winter break and a lot of exciting things are happening, right? No? Y'all don't look too excited. Okay, so nonetheless, we thank you for joining us this evening. Much thanks to the Durham Youth Council for putting this together. Can we get the presidents, raise your hands, inshallah, of the various members, or they don't exist? Okay, the youth president or the representatives of Oshawa Masjid, inshallah, raise your hands. Okay, you're the guy. Oh, Imam Shakir as well, youth. Okay. Masjid Uthmaan, represent. Only one guy, sisters. So where are the Masjid Uthmaan sisters? Where are they at? Okay, they're in the back room there, mashallah, getting things together. And which other masjid? Quba. Masjid Quba, youth. All right, brother, mashallah. So once again, we thank you all for coming out and joining us this evening. Mashallah, that's a pretty splendid turnout. And as Uthmaan mentioned, there's a pretty fun and exciting evening taking place, inshallah. I just wanted to share one quick thing, inshallah. How many of us, or I shouldn't ask this question, but we all recite Surah Al-Kahf on Friday, right? We try to. Surah Al-Kahf is a very beautiful surah. There's a lot for us to learn. And the nature of the Quran is such that the more you recite it, the more you learn from it, okay? And there's an interesting dua that has been kind of, standing out to me perhaps for some time now, maybe because I read something or most likely because I heard one of my teachers saying it, okay? Because, everything we learn is from somebody else, right? And we must give credit where it's due, and everything we know is from our teachers, Mashaykh. It's just that we forget sometimes exactly who we learned that from. Anyways, there's a dua in Surah Al-Kahf. Does anyone know this dua? There's a short dua towards the beginning of the Surah Al-Kahf. If you recited Surah Al-Kahf today, raise your hand. Nothing to be ashamed of. If you didn't recite it, it's okay. I think I missed it today. Yeah, oh, sorry, I didn't see the hands. If you recited Surah Al-Kahf in its entirety, raise your hand, inshallah. MashaAllah, Pickering Youth. All right, sisters. MashaAllah, alhamdulillah. Well, it's encouraged. We're encouraged to recite it. If you can recite the entire surah, the greatest thing ever. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will create light for you from the heavens to the earth. And that light, while you can't see it, it's a light of guidance. And it's barakah, it's khair. It opens your heart and gives you direction. The Prophet also encouraged, if you cannot recite the entire thing, he said recite the first 10 ayat. The first 10 ayats are very short. Okay, try to recite that. Other hadith tell us the last 10 verses. So what we recommend to people who cannot is at least recite the first 10 and last 10 ayat. That's doable, right? Memorize them, take screenshots or use them on your phone, whatever you can do. Try to recite these 10 ayat or 20 ayat from the beginning to the end. And if you have the time, then try to recite the entire thing. There's a dua in the beginning which really stands out, and the dua I was referring to is رَبَّنَا آتِنَا مِن لَدُنْكَ رَحْمَةً وَهَيِّئْ لَنَا مِنْ أَمْرِنَا رَشَدًا. The dua of the youth when they're fleeing from their tyrannical king, not Tyrannosaurus Rex, okay? Their tyrant king who was forcing them to leave Islam and leave monotheism and to resort to something which doesn't make sense, which is idol worship. They were being forced by the sword to leave something which is their fitrah, their nature, and to resort to something which is illogical and it doesn't make any sense, as the Quran continuously reinforces this idea. And they said we have to take a stand, okay? We cannot go along with the flow, we cannot go along with the status quo, okay? And they had to make a decision. Likewise, we all have to make a decision. There's a point in time where we're just kids in our household, bache hain, everyone speaks Urdu, right? Most of you, as-sighar, sughayr, right? You're kids. But there comes a time in your life where people may call you a kid, but you're not a kid anymore, okay? And that is after puberty, okay? Once you hit that age, you're an adult, Islamically speaking. You're legally culpable. You have responsibility, you have accountability before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it no longer flies and says that, okay, our parents forced us, so this happened. There's a time, and as you grow older and older, into school and university, there comes a time where you have to make a decision. That road that you're going on, it'll only go straight for a certain amount of time. Then there will come a time where you have to be decisive, and that road is going to fork. You're either going to go to Detroit, or you're going to go to Sarnia. Okay? You know what I'm saying? Or wherever, you know. You're either going to Belleville or like Ottawa, okay? So you have to make a decision. You can no longer be indecisive. You know what I'm saying? You have to make a decision. And this is the decision these youth were faced with. Do we just go along with everybody? Mom and dad, they're being forced. Wallahu a'lam, the circumstances. Or we're adults, do we take a stand? Right? And alhamdulillah, these few youth, we don't know the exact number. 7, 8, 9, a few of them, right? They took a stand that we cannot allow this to happen. And it must have cycled and circled in their conscience for some time that they were able to make the decision on the spot. You just don't make huge decisions like that when there are such big stakes. You cannot make a decision on the fly like that. Okay, it's not off the cuff. So they must have thought of this for a long time, and when the time came, they were able to make the right decision. But that decision came after a dua they made, and that dua was رَبَّنَا آتِنَا مِن لَدُنْكَ رَحْمَةً. Repeat after me, inshallah. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا مِن لَدُنْكَ رَحْمَةً وَهَيِّئْ لَنَا مِنْ أَمْرِنَا رَشَدًا. What does this dua mean? Very simple dua. And if you can memorize the words, amazing. If you can't, at least remember the meaning of this, because this is going to help you in your school, high school, in your adult life, in your careers. Whenever you have to make a decision where you're faced with, do I do what's conventional, or do I go according to what the Book of Allah and the Deen says? Okay? Inshallah, you go with the latter, or the former rather, okay, which is the Book of Allah and the Deen of Allah. But that's not going to be easy. You have to expect a fight. You have to expect a struggle. And that struggle will become easy when you have the greatest power on your side. And that greatest power is? Come on, youth. Right? Okay. Allah. Okay? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's aid comes to you when you call on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And here's a simple solution and simple suggestion to ensure that the aid of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes to you and us all. And that is, oh Allah, atina min ladunka rahmah. Give us your special mercy. Rahmah min ladunka, like from deep within your treasures, Ya Allah, give us this rahmah. Okay, we need rahmah. We all need rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So much so that entering Jannah we will be required to have the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, oh Allah, give us your rahmah, have mercy on us. And we have to not just say it lip service, we have to think this and want this from the bottom of our hearts. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا مِن لَدُنْكَ. Oh Allah, give us your rahmah, your divine mercy and grace. وَهَيِّئْ لَنَا مِنْ أَمْرِنَا رَشَدًا. And facilitate the right decision for us. Facilitate guidance for us. Facilitate what is correct for us, Ya Allah. Okay? So, because facing up to the tides of atheism or the tides of anti-Islamic sentiment or Muslim hate or Islamophobia, whatever you want to call it, or any other issues you have at school, standing up to that it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a tough battle. Defending Quran, defending verses, defending the Prophet ﷺ, defending your sister, yes, on campus. You're there as a community, right? وَالْمُؤْمِنُ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. You're protectors and caretakers for each other. You, in the most appropriate, respectful manner, you got each other's backs. Okay? That people should know that you don't mess with the Muslims. Now, it doesn't mean you become violent and like crazy like that, because I know that youth can be crazy, right? You want to get all gangster sometimes, right? Because you watch all these movies and say all these things, and that thug life just comes out all of a sudden somewhere, right? Everyone when I was young, I don't know, maybe it changed. Like you all wanted to be a thug. We're from Scarborough, right? So you had like you wore your Timberlands and you jacked your pants up, right? And you did all this funny stuff, right? And it still happens sometimes, you know, when you go in Jamaat, like your pants are all stuck up, you know, right? Sorry. Okay. So in a civil manner, right? You take recourse, and you should let people know that you're not going to be silenced and trampled over, right? To do that, you have to have divine support. And divine support comes from connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This dua is a very simple antidote for that. Once again, in this dua, we're asking for the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and for Him to guide us. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has many, many names, and one of His 99 names is Al-Hadi, the guide. Okay? So with that, I think I took too much time. But Jazakallah khair for affording me the opportunity to open up this evening. Inshallah, and inshallah there's much more for you to learn and the discourses and the keynote, inshallah. So Jazakumullah khair once again, and we hope you have a successful and a blessed evening, and this evening is accepted, inshallah. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyil kareem wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.
Jazakallah, Mufti Sahib, for the inspiring talk. Inshallah, we all remember that dua, or at least the meaning. So now, inshallah, we will be having the session of all the universities coming up, inshallah. So can we have from Queen's University, Zaryab Ahmed, from Trent University, Ayesha Ahmed, from UIT, Maria Tariq, and from UTSC, Fawzudeen.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Zaryab Ahmed. I go to Queen's University. I'm in my third year studying biological psychology. Inshallah, if you all make dua for me, that means that I will graduate next year, but who knows? Inshallah, today I'm just going to talk about a few things that pertain to university, pertain to Queen's, and the MSA in specific. So Queen's University, first of all, it's a 175-year-old institution. It's very old. It's older than Canada. 95% of the student population comes outside of Kingston. I don't know if any of you have been to Kingston. Kingston is quite small. So a lot of the students are not from the town. A lot of students are from Toronto, kind of in this area, from out in BC. More than 90% of first year students live in residence. This is an important kind of topic I'm going to touch upon, because going away from home can sometimes be a topic that is discussed thoroughly in Muslim households, which is important to know. And then Queen's is also home to students from almost 100 countries. This is an important, I guess, aspect, because a lot of people, when they think of Queen's, they don't think of diversity and multiculturalism, but there is a lot of students out there from various countries. So Queen's University is known for its architecture. I don't know if anyone has ever been there, but has been to Kingston or the campus specifically, but it's got some very old limestone buildings. That's kind of what we're best known for. A lot of our kind of, it looks like castles. We have a Harry Potter room in specific in one of our libraries. It's a very aesthetic aesthetic university. So the Queen's University Muslim Student Association. So alhamdulillah, this year I am the chair of KUMSA. So what we look to do is to bring together Muslim students to provide resources, essential services, and educational tools needed to enhance your university experience, but also to kind of facilitate your Islamic experience as well. So back in 1974, KUMSA was established first before there was actually any what is now known as the Islamic Society of Kingston. Because if you do come to Queens and come to this, to the university, you'll notice that a majority of the Muslims in Kingston are students. They come from, I guess, from international, come from Toronto. A lot of students are from Toronto. So a lot of the Muslims that are in Kingston are actually, not from Kingston. So in it was 74 where they noticed that there's a large Muslim population, mostly students, without, a prayer space, without a lot of the many essential services. So KUMSA was established mainly back then to give Muslim students a place to, pray Jummah prayer, to pray 5 times Salah, to hold events, because they noticed that the Muslim population was growing. So through the services and events provided, the MSA aims to provide a kind of spiritual growth as well as an educational tool for all students as well as community members. It's an important aspect now, I think almost 40 years later, that the MSA is also there to serve the community. So it was initially established for the students because there was a large student population, but now with a growing community, we look to expand our horizons, with the high school students, with there's a lot of Syrian brothers coming, and a lot of the other brothers that live nearby. So yeah, this is some of what we do. Is we provide worship services, like I said. We help organize. We organize one of the Jummah prayers on campus. Right now in Kingston, there's 2 Jummah prayers that take place. One at the masajid, one on campus. So we do everything from set up, organize the khatibs. It's kind of part of the MSA's job. The Muslim bond is very important. If you're like me, you don't really know very many people going to Queen's University. You choose Queen's University, you don't know that many Muslims there. So it's an important aspect. Or if you're an international student, even worse. You come straight from wherever, Pakistan, India, Mauritania, and you get thrown into a city like Kingston, Ontario, where there's no halal shops, no halal food, no Muslim people. So the Muslim bond is very important. So we look to do some social activities in which people can meet other people in a relaxed environment, get to know some Muslim brothers. Islamic awareness. So when it comes down to it, Queen's University, although there is diversity, although there's 100 different countries there, a lot of students, if you walk through it predominantly, it's not very diverse. So Islamic awareness is a big important part of what we do. We look to clear up misconceptions, not only within our community, answering questions that any Muslim brothers or Muslim sisters may have, but also within the larger community. So we bring in Muslim speakers as part of our Islamic Awareness Week, which is coming up this next month. We look to bring in some Muslim speakers, talk about some heated issues. Last year, we had some of our local Imams come in, and our event was actually called Sharia law and jihad, and what do they really mean? So, as you can imagine, these are some very heavy words. They come with a lot of weight. People are often scared when they hear them. And so we look to, kind of clear up misconceptions and educate people because at the end of the day, a university is an educational institution. So the Islamic education should also be a part of that. Like I said before, we're an educational and spiritual resource. Whether this be, you need some books, you need guidance. We have a Muslim chaplain on campus now, alhamdulillah. So if you need guidance, you need to be, we can direct you to the right place. So being part of the MSA on campus kind of means that, you're there to facilitate, you're there to talk to people, you're there to put people in touch with the right people and help out wherever you can. Interfaith relations, so, growing and expanding on some interfaith relations. And then meet, discuss, and celebrate. So this is just events that we like to come together for, whether that be Eid, whether that be, the kind of Jummah prayers, whatever it is. We like to come together every once in a while. Charity Week, it's an Islamic relief initiative. We like to come together, celebrate, raise money, whatever the goal may be. It's kind of part of what we do. So here are some of the services that we provide in terms of mostly the Islamic services. So we have a general prayer space on campus. We have halaqas and tafsir and hadith halaqas that are offered by the local imams. So, they come to campus because when you go out to Queen's University, the campus is very like a walking distance kind of campus. So there's only students there. You don't really see, it's not kind of mixed in with the community. The masajid is inaccessible unless you have a car. So we try to bring out, some of the imams twice a week to come out to the campus so the students have a chance to benefit from them. We also organize Ramadan iftars because some of the students, especially the international students that are staying over the summers, when you're living alone, it can be difficult to fast, especially difficult to cook your own iftar. So we try to, the community really helps out with organizing some iftars. We do some orphan sponsorship and social events. So yeah, these are just some posters for some of the events that we do. So there's halaqa at Queens. We do a FIFA tournament to raise some money, get some brothers involved. Usually you see a lot more people at a FIFA tournament than you do at a halaqa, but that's okay. We do a welcome barbecue, to invite everyone back. Once you feed some people, you notice that they tend to talk a lot more. That's why I see that there's food here tonight. Charity Week is a big one. A lot of the MSAs participate in this. It's kind of a national event. It's very fun, not at all competitive. And so for the first years, so any of you that are in high school thinking about Queen's University, probably the first thing that comes to your mind is it's 230 kilometers away. So that means that you're moving away from home. So when it comes to moving away from home, there's really two aspects you need to remember. When you move away from home, I will not say that it's either good or bad. There's pros and cons to both. There's pros to being away and there's pros to being at home. There's cons to being away and there's cons to being at home. The most important thing to remember was when you're away, you're completely responsible for yourself. When you're here, you have your parents, you have whoever you're living with, you have someone that checks in on you, you have someone that keeps you in check. When you're living alone, you have no one to really answer to except for Allah. So you need to keep this in mind, regardless of, as Mufti Saab mentioned earlier, is that, whenever we're making decisions, tough decisions especially, we should keep this in mind. So this is kind of the most important aspect of when you move away from home, is that you're in charge of everything. As from personal experience, it is not easy. There's a lot of things that you need to learn. Learn how to cook, learn how to do your laundry. We take our moms for granted, so when you go home today, say thank you to your mom, and if you're looking to move away, you'll know what I mean very quickly. But in terms of what the MSA does for first years is we like to do some tours, some bonding, and we become a resource to you. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to us. If you are in need of a tour on campus, you can reach out to us. And I believe that the next slide is contact information. So this is our contact information. So if anyone needs it, we can be reached via Facebook, on Instagram as well. And you can send an email to kumsachair@gmail.com. Jazakallah.
Quite a lot of work with the local community organizations. For example, they've done fundraising dinners for the Syrian refugees. They've done dinners for the Muslim Welfare Center, which is a new shelter for women and children in Whitby. And they've had samosa sales and big sales, which we all love. And so that's a lot of the work that the Trent MSA is currently doing. And we are hoping to expand, inshallah, and work on more, bring more services, bring more education, bring more knowledge and impact to the work that they are doing. Currently, I believe for this year they do have a modest fashion show planned, so that's pretty cool. In regards to what assistance and what services that the MSA provides, there is a prayer room on campus. Currently, there's not any Jummah prayer on campus, however, it is accessible for even just meditation or reading Quran and having that quiet time in the busy life of a university student. The MSA is also a really great resource for finding other Muslim students and being able to learn from them. So even if you're a first year student, you will find there's students that are upper years and that might be in the same program there's a lot of knowledge to be learned because it is highly likely you have the same professors, the same classes, and the same assignments. So they're a very important resource, and the MSA is a great way to be connected to them as a mentor as well, or as a mentee. And how students can contact our MSA? Well, there's a Facebook group in case you have any questions. You can also email any of the executives or the Facebook group. There's an email list that you can please subscribe to stay updated regarding to meetings and events that are happening. So because it's so accessible at a smaller campus and it's a smaller MSA, the meetings are usually done when most members are able to come. So it's very highly likely that you'll be able to make it to a lot of the meetings because it's done with everyone in mind. So just some benefits that I wanted to touch on being part of the MSA and how it can benefit is that we're able to learn from each other, and it's an opportunity for you to be recognized, for you to have a voice, because making a difference, there's so many ways that you can make a difference. Whether you're a graphic designer, you're helping out making posters for events, or a writer who can create copy and ads for the flyers that are being made, or you're really good at event planning and those resources out in the community. There's so many different talents that everyone can bring to the table, and being a part of an MSA is a way to find that out about yourself, because you might have never had that opportunity in high school where there's not much that you can really do being a student, you're just going through your classes. But university opens up a lot of doors, and being part of an MSA, you become part of a community, you become part of a family, as Mufti was saying, that you have each other's backs. And there's so many skills that you can gain just being part of this group that you might not even know that you were interested in this before, whether it's like project management or just communicating with other people. When you're kind of on the spot, you have to do that. it's something that you can learn. Another advantage or another perk of being part of an MSA is that you learn a lot about your own identity, because in university you're really a lot on your own. There's different people, different ages, different backgrounds, and you don't. It's at that point of your life where you're making decisions, and you're making decisions that have a huge long-term impact. So being a part of a community that has similar goals and similar values is very crucial to understand what's important to myself and how am I able to make sure that I don't, kind of go away from that. And having, especially like with the MSA, having people that you can lean on and fall back on when you need that boost of Iman or even just academic support. There's so much support that's available within a tight-knit group like that, especially in a small community like the MSA. Being part of MSA at university, you learn a lot more about what's out there in the community. You'll learn more about organizations and how to contact those organizations, which is a really huge important skill. For example, the dinners, proceeds all go to Islamic relief, and or you're helping coordinate NIST and become part of the dream team over there. Or we have local food banks. We have the Muslim Welfare Center. There's the CHA, which is like a mental health helpline. There's so many organizations that have Muslim members or cater to the Muslim community that you're able to get in touch with. Or for example, how like Hafidh, mashallah, was so generous to help out any youth groups, and the masjids, the local community masjids. The imams are always helpful to come and have halakas. There is an immense amount of knowledge that you can really attain by just being there, even if you're not actually actively participating or doing anything. Being at a meeting, you can be like, oh, I didn't even know, we could do this or that. This is someone that I could contact. So there's a lot of networking opportunity as well.
I can only take 5 minutes. Okay, so I just wanted to start with asking who lives in the Durham region. Wow. Okay, so who's in high school right now? Okay, so majority of you guys. Okay. Who's planning to go to UIT? Yay! No one from here? Engineer. In UIT is not only engineering. Engineering, IT, health science, everything. So who knows where UIT is? Yeah, Oshawa? Okay, so it's pretty easy access to the Durham region, right? You just take the 900, you can even take the 915 to UIT. It's a great university. It's a new university, I think it's 10 years. It just started in 10 years. But it's over 10,000 people, and they don't even have enough space for people that go there. So they're trying to expand. It's a great university. We have a lot of things like halal options and stuff like that, so it does cater to the Muslim community. Especially since our Imam is Imam Shakir. So that's awesome. So regarding the MSA, I was part of the MSA last year, so this year I was not part of the MSA, I'm part of Islamic Relief. But I can still fill in for the MSA person who could not make it today. So our MSA, we have done events that have already been mentioned, like Charity Week, right? You guys know what Charity Week is? No? Okay. Well, it's pretty fun. You do like many events for the whole week. And it all goes towards a good cause, like to Yemen or anything like that. We also have like halakas, which not all of people know what halakha means. So we need to like change that up. And then we also have like Ahmed's dinner. We did that to get the community together and stuff like that. So we do a lot of events like that, but yeah, so I mean, we are still forming our club at UIT since people have graduated and such, so we're still forming our club. So it's still being built in the process, but we have done many events in the past. We just got Juma in the big soccer dome, which has like 500 people, you can carry 500 people, so we got that just established by the university because we had to fight our way through it. And so we do have 2 prayer rooms. One is at UIT, and then we're joined with DC, which is Durham College. So they also have a prayer room at DC, which is smaller, but it's still there, it's still efficient. You can still use it. Yeah, and so our MSA, the people on campus are awesome. The majority are like brown people, okay? So you can find, like it's majority like Arabs, a lot of Arabs, and Pakistanis, okay? But you can find your crew, I don't know how to say that, but you can find people that you truly can connect with, you know? Whether you're the MSA or not, you can truly form a community bond kind of like thing. I know outside USC is all non-brown people, but inside it's a good community environment. And MSA helps with that a lot. So yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna leave the rest to the Q&A session. I'm sure you guys have a lot in the Q&A, but yeah.
I'm going to take over the MC position real quick. Jazakallah khair, sisters. Our next speaker will be from University of Toronto, Scarborough, Brother Faasil Fawzudeen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Faasil Fawzudeen from the University of Toronto, Scarborough, Muslim Students Association. I know you're all going to look at my PowerPoint and think it's very simple. I apologize. You should have paid attention more in grade 10 business class, so forgive me. But I'll go right into it. Okay, yes. Oh no, I skipped too much. All right, so university in itself, located in Scarborough. It says East End. For me, that's East. I realize for Pickering, that's West, but generally it's East Toronto, right? But yeah, looking at the East End, we have about 13,000 students, I believe the last I checked the stats, which is not a high number. Inshallah, I'll get to that actually a bit later. Whenever people think about UTSC, of course, they think of it as like the lower tier U of T. And I know if I try to defend it right now, people will think you're just defending it because you go to UTSC. I'll have you all know I got accepted to the main campus. I just chose UTSC. But no really. I think UTSC, realistically, as I'm about to share right now, there are a few programs especially that stand out more so than in the other campuses. The top 3 programs, also by student count and the money that it goes to, is management, psychology/social sciences, and also life sciences, right? So that's something that really stands out for the Scarborough campus, especially the management program. There are, like, if it's ridiculous. If you go on the website for UTSC and you search up their programs, you search up life science, psychology, all this stuff, you'll see like 5, 6, which is a lot. And you go to management and you have to scroll down actually because there's so many programs, right? So anyone who's interested in business, I'd really suggest to look into UTSC, especially because they have numerous amounts of co-op opportunities that the other campuses don't have. And the other two would be psychology slash social sciences, which from what I've been told from the faculty is most money from the University of Toronto for these specific programs goes to the Scarborough campus. And also for life sciences, we have a few special labs that are only there's only like 3 in the world. And UTSC has like a few of them because they have like these special microscopes. This doesn't sound cool to you all now, but when you all join life sciences, you'll realize, if you join life sciences, you'll realize that, wow, that's amazing, right? But yeah, so again, I think management, psychology, and life sciences, if you're really looking into these 3 programs, I would highly suggest you look into UTSC. Now for assistance, me actually what I did was I took a year off after I graduated high school. So I had to look into applying on my own, and it was a really difficult process. I was doing summer school just before. I remember when I started UTSC, I didn't even know if I was in the school because I was still I just finished my summer school like 2 weeks before that. It was such a crazy process. But for anyone who's looking into it, I would highly suggest you speak to their registrar's office, right? Like, don't be afraid. I know many times I told myself that, the question I have is a stupid question. It's okay, so long as you're getting it answered, right? So don't be afraid. And it's not just UTSC. It could be for any school that you're applying to. The advice I'd give is to just feel free to speak to the registrar's office or their admissions office, right? Me personally, I can vouch for the UTSC's registrar and admissions office because they helped me so much. Like, I asked the stupidest questions and they'd be like, what's on the website? And I'd be like, I know, but I just want to make sure, right? And sometimes I still go back just to ask these questions. So yeah, before actually making it to the school where you got your acceptance, whatever it is, honestly call the registrars as much as you can. As a student, we have something called the Academic Advising Career Center. I guarantee almost every single one of you, unless you're in engineering or comp-sci, that you're probably going to change your mind about your program once you're in your second year, okay? It happens. Honestly, any engineering student, they got too much pride, they're not going to be like, oh, I'm not going to quit engineering, But people in like life sciences and humanities, whatever it is, they're going to, right? And it's okay. It happens. And that's why we have things like academic advising centers and things like that, right? And for anyone, I don't know how far the farthest person might be here, but we also have a student housing and residence life department as well for anyone who might be looking into residence. Now I'm here on behalf of the UTSC MSA. We offer quite a bit, I like to think. We offer things like weekly classes. We have a tajweed class and Arabic class currently. In the past, we've had classes like Seerah and Tafsir. Of course, doing all these bookings is why we can't have all of them at once and finding instructors and things like that. But yeah, so currently we have a Tajweed class and Arabic class, which is weekly, like ongoing. We have events like Charity Week and Islamic Awareness Week as they've spoken before. On top of that, we have events just like that we do like 3 events. We try to aim for 3 events a month outside of these, right? Just for events that we have. Also, we have like weekly halaqas and stuff like that. But I mean, beyond that, like just things to help the community, things to just boost your iman boosting events, things like that. On top of that, for first years, we do have a mentorship program. So specifically the students, upper years, I myself am part of I'm a mentor, and we have them, I call them mentees, right? I don't know what the correct grammatical term is. Protege, ooh, I like that one. I like that. We'll use that next year, inshallah. Protege, ooh, okay. But yeah, so we have our mentors and we have our proteges. Right, so we have a program for that for first year students because honestly I think it's really important that when I was in my first year, when I came, I knew brothers who were in their 4th year, and them just guiding me, giving me like basic answers really helped me. Them showing me where the prayer room was changed my entire undergrad, right? Because I've met some Muslim brothers in like the 2nd, 3rd year, they still don't know where the prayer room is, right? You ask them, you said, didn't you ask? They said, no, I didn't ask, right? But yeah, so things like this, if you know people who are already at the school, that's a good thing. So that's why we have a mentorship program. We also have an orphan sponsorship program, which we like to sponsor an orphan every two months or so. And the last bit over there with an asterisk, it says volunteering opportunities. It's because we're currently working on more projects to help out the community in itself. Like we do, what is it called? Like clothing donations and things like that for the Muslim Welfare Center in Scarborough. But we're thinking of doing things like expanding and helping out with like soup kitchens and things like that. So it's just an idea. Also for outreach, I personally, alhamdulillah, I'm very happy this event happened because for a while now I was thinking about reaching out to MSA members who are in high school. So if anyone's in the MSA, please reach out to me. The contact will be later. Now a few things to mention before I finish is, number one is it is a smaller population. I quickly Googled it. Even Seneca College has more students than us, which is actually mind-blowing, right? But yeah, so smaller population is 13,000 students. Some people think of that as a bad thing. I think of it as an amazing thing. And the reason is because if you see the same people, the same Muslim brothers every single day, that's how you build bonds, right? And I'm telling you, no matter what school you go to, the friends you make will make the hugest impact even on your studies, right? So the friends you make is very important. So having a smaller population, I think, is good, or something that's good in the UTSC community, because you see those same brothers and sisters all the time, right? So you can build those bonds. And secondly, it is a commuter school, I don't know how to pronounce that word properly, right? I'm gonna go with commuter school, right? Commuter school, okay. So pretty much the point I'm trying to make there is that although there is residences and things like that, a lot of students, they come, they do their studies, they might chill for a bit, and then they go home, right? And that's very important to mention, because it's not like, you know, in the movies where everyone just has parties and all that at school, right? I'm saying don't expect that, right? Of course, in any university, but especially at UTSC, it's not like that, okay? You come, of course, you meet, you go to these halaqas, you go to these events, you spend time in Jum'ah, which I forgot to mention, we also offer, of course, Jum'ah, we offer food, iftar in the month of Ramadan, a constant prayer space, things like that. Should have mentioned that before. But yeah, you see these brothers and sisters all the time, you build that bond, but at the end of the day, it's not like you stay there, so I just thought it was really important to mention that. And it's not like there's restaurants all around the school like it is in downtown, right? So it's just, take that into account if you do, just to be realistic, right? I'm not trying to promote the school, I'm just trying to be honest with you all, right? Take that into account, that we do have a small population, alhamdulillah, it's great. On the other hand is that we have halal food options, but if you're expecting like a walking distance restaurants and like an Affy's and walking distance, things like that, it's not gonna happen, okay? Although we do have halal options. I believe this is the last slide, which is if anyone needs more information, feel free, this is our contact, there's our website, mcutc.com. Everything I pretty much spoke about is on our website. There's also our email, our Facebook, and the Instagram. And to the brothers, personally, I will say that, as I mentioned, it is good to have someone that you know in the school. So if anyone is planning to just go to U of T in general, you are welcome to just reach out and ask for myself personally, and I can help you with that, inshallah. All right, so feel free to reach out, jazakumullahu khairan, and I believe that is, I didn't make a finishing slide, but that is it. All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Inshallah, now we'll have our second session. I'd like to call upon Sheikh Omar Patel, who is from the Khalil Center. He's also a chaplain at UTSC.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So you guys, should I sit down? How's everyone doing today? Yeah, everyone's okay? Alhamdulillah, good, dead crowd, mashallah. So I was told to talk about the transition from high school to university and what that looks like and how we can make it more smooth, so to say. So I serve right now as a Muslim chaplain at University of Toronto Scarborough campus, so where Faasil is from, and I've been there for about 4 years now, and seeing the transition of Muslim students. The way I like to see it, it's a revolving door. So students are coming into university, students are leaving university. Some students make it halfway and then they change their entire outlook on life and they want to travel, or they just want to work, and so on and so forth. So it's a revolving door, similar to that of a madrasa or a Darul Ulum, so to say. Alhamdulillah, I had the opportunity to go and study overseas. When I came back, I had to transition from a boarding school to high school, from a high school to grad school, from grad school to becoming like a professional and working. So transitions are pretty much a huge part of my life. Today I was transitioning. I went to go pick up my mom's car from the mechanic, and the lady that was working there, I used to play basketball with her when I was a kid. And I'm like, yo, I was just like, and she was like, I know you from somewhere. I'm like, yeah, we used to play basketball. She's like, oh, you live here? And I'm like, yeah, I live over there. She's like, okay, so what's with all of this, you know? Yeah, I used to play basketball with girls back in the days. Interesting. I wasn't like the age of Uthmaan. I was like younger, so it was halal at that time. I grew out of it. So transitioning is extremely important. How can we transition in a very smooth, in a smooth way? When you go from high school, you're pretty much, forgive me, but you're pretty much still a kid to the rest of the world, right? How can you mature yourself and flourish in such a way where now you're an adult, you're expected of yourself to do certain things, but now you're also expected more from your parents. How many of us have expectations from our parents? To become a doctor, to become a lawyer, to become something or somebody. Just do something, please. You know, our parents expect us to do something with our lives, especially when they're paying so much money or they had RESP set up for so long, to be able to do something with our lives. So you have this external factor of expectations. But then when you enter university and there are these huge classrooms and everyone's acting so smart and sophisticated because you have to fake it until you make it. And then you have these beautiful lavish dinners with MSA members and you have this, like amazing khatibs coming in for Jumu'ah and you're doing this and that and you're just like, okay, now what am I supposed to be doing with my life? Like I was just chilling and playing and Fortnite and yada yada yada, and now I gotta do my stats. I got like so many textbooks. I have them in my backpack. I have a nice beautiful MacBook, and then I have like beautiful pens, and then I have more textbooks in my hand. So to be able to make that transition, it's not about just how you're acting through that transition, it's about what you're actually doing and what your end goal is. So the first thing I would recommend is your intention, checking your intention. That as Muslims of this next generation, what do we want to do in order to sustain the Muslim community? Right? We have this masjid, we have masajid across the GTA, we have MSAs in every institution. Now MSA in itself is an institution, it's an Islamic institution within these secular institutions. We have chaplains on campus, we have imams on campus. So as a Muslim student, how can I be the best version of myself as a doctor, as a lawyer, as an engineer, as an accountant, in my service to the Muslim community, but my service to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So my end goal is serving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Making a lot of money is there. Right? Going to school and becoming smart is there. Trying to accomplish yourself is there. But how can I serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? By serving His community members should be our priority. And thereafter you have different stages within that. You have, at UTSC I can speak for, you have the Health and Wellness Center. So a lot of people, when they come to university, they're overwhelmed. They're overwhelmed. They don't know how many courses to take, which courses to take, because they don't have mentors. They haven't read, certain things. They haven't done their research adequately. So now they're overwhelmed because, again, the expectations of the parents, the expectations they put on themselves, the overwhelming course loads and so on and so forth, exams, quizzes, tests, everything just piling up one after another. University life is not easy. I don't want you to think it's easy. I don't want you to accept that it is easy. It's not easy. It's very difficult. And the whole purpose of me telling you that is to mentally prepare you that the transition from high school to university is real. It's a real transition. Because if you're not prepared mentally and you think it's easy, and you think, who cares what my high school teachers were trying to prepare me for? Who cares what they were saying? No. It's real. You have to know your English. You got to know your math. You got to know everything to be able to enter into university and prepare yourself to be able to say, I got this. I will hold this down for myself, for my family members, for everyone who wants me to do something with my life, for myself, right? So when I came back from madrasa and had to go to grad school, I was just like, I failed my first paper. My very first paper I failed. And then that's when all hopelessness just darkens around you. You're just sunk in this black hole. And you're like, what am I thinking of going to university? Of writing this paper about something that I don't even know what I'm talking about, but it makes me sound really smart. Right? That's pretty much, when I look at my papers now, I'm like, I wrote that? Wow, But my first ever paper, I failed. And then the prof called me into the office and she was like, okay, Omar, are you really cut out for this? I'm like, excuse me? And she was like the racist one. So I just had to prove her wrong. And so my entire, like, she fueled my fire to get through grad school. And when I graduated, I was like, what are you gonna say now? Like, you know? I was like, what's up? Right? And so I was able to do that because I had something fueling me. So what is your fuel? Is your fuel yourself? Is it your community? Is it your family? Is it, your buddies? What is it? And to be able to find something to be able to fuel your fire. A lot of people go through psychological issues, depression, severe anxiety disorders when they enter into university. At times, that severe anxiety can lead to OCD and other things. Your campus has health and wellness centers to be able to take care of that. So don't be scared to say, it's okay, I'm going through something right now, I need somebody to talk to. If you have an Imam on campus, speak to them. If you have MSA mentors on campus and you feel comfortable, speak with them. But you have a health and wellness center where you have counselors, you have psychologists, you have psychiatrists to be able to go into their safe space and talk to them, right? And then you have your academic advisory committee and your counselors there to be able to have those conversations with onto how to navigate which courses to take and so on and so forth. Right, so you have communities within these communities. So not all the time they're going to be brown Muslims, and they shouldn't be. There should be diverse Muslims. You should have your Arabs, your Somalis, your Browns, everyone. Muslims are Muslims at the end of the day, right? And so you have these communities, these pockets of individuals that are helping you because community building lowers your anxiety levels. It lowers your anxiety levels. So take part in these community initiatives. Take part in these halaqas, these classes that are going on. Take part in different initiatives on campus, whether they're Islamic or whether they're secular, but to be able to build bridges between the two. Because a lot of times I have a few students that come to UTSC and they study the Alim program with someone. And so they study the Alim program and then you're seeing them walk in with their Arabic books and their Urdu books into university. And I'm like, so how's class going? They're like, it's whatever. Like, we're focusing on what's going to help us in the hereafter. And I'm like, cool, what's going to help you right now? Like, okay, your Arabic and your Urdu is going to help you, fine. Your sarf, your fiqh, cool, great. But if you're here and you're paying for this, being able to value the worth of the education, because you're paying a lot of money and you're getting a lot of grants and people are investing in you to be able to get you a really good education and develop your education to that level. So when you're exercising your priorities, that you have health sciences or whatever program you're taking, and then you have whatever else you're doing, but not letting go of your family. A lot of people, when we enter university, we focus on a heavy course load, taking 5 courses a semester, 6 courses a semester, and then we're just like, we have no time for anybody else. And that's not how the transition will be smooth. That's not how the transition takes place. What I did initially was I took a light course load. I took 3 courses, and then I built up 3, 4, 5, until I knew how to manage all of that. So sometimes, if my course was 2 years or 3 years, I extended it a couple of semesters because you have to learn how to manage your time and learn how to manage the workload that comes. Because when you're going from high school to university, it could be extremely difficult in recognizing, okay, how much of a workload do I have? How many courses am I going to be taking? How many exams will I have this semester? And so on and so forth. What's expected of you? So to be able to transition very smoothly, start off part-time. Some people take gap years to mentally prepare themselves. I wouldn't highly recommend that, but it works for some people. Some people start off with 1 course, 2 courses, 3 courses, and move on. So just take your time. You know yourself best, right? But if you need somebody to talk to, you can reach out to the university, you can reach out to myself, Imam Shakir, and others, right? To be able to have, academic counseling or career counseling. But whatever works for you, self-reflection, right? And a huge part of that is self-care. What are you doing for yourself to getting your mind off of things? When I used to come home after a long day of school and the commute going to downtown and back, an hour and a half in the TTC, and then with all the delays and everything else extra, how are you utilizing that time? Are you reading? Are you watching something? Are you making use of your time? Pretty much, right? So that time is very valuable. Now I can say, read a book, do your coursework on the subway. How realistic is it? You're drained, right? Some people read Quran, Bismillah. Whatever floats your boat, right? Whatever floats your boat. And don't feel that you're doing something wrong. Because again, it's a journey. It's a migration. It's a hijrah. A hijrah from high school to university, it's a hijrah. It's huge. It's not easy, but it's possible. So like how the Prophet ﷺ left Mecca, went to Medina, your hijrah is from, right now, it's from high school to university. It's difficult, recognizing that difficulty. But how am I supposed to get to Medina, and how am I supposed to live in Medina during these 4 or 5 years, or however long it's going to be? And then you're going to love your academic life so much to a point, if you do it properly, that you're going to be like, I want to go to grad school. If you go to grad school, think about your PhD, right? My PhD is in the back of my mind, inshallah, one day, but I can't do it right now. But it's still there, like the plan is still there, concrete in my mind, hopefully, inshallah. And so what we have to do as Muslim community members is recognize the need within the community. How many PhDs do we have? How many Muslim profs do we have which are not Ismaili or Ahmadi, but are Sunni Muslims, right? Us Sunni Muslim students filling that void one day. That, teaching university courses, whether they be in life sciences, in management, so on and so forth. Being in positions of leadership within universities, in these secular institutions, having a Muslim who has an Islamic identity, but also has certain grounding within academia to be able to have those positions of leadership. So recognizing all of that. How much time do I got? A lot? Okay. So how is everyone feeling right now? What difficulties do you anticipate entering into university? I think that's how we have to address this, right? I might be talking about apples and you're probably thinking about oranges. So let's open the floor to having this conversation together. I don't like to talk. Let's be frank, I don't like to talk. Even at university, we have discussions. Soul food's all a discussion for me. It's like I bring up a topic and I ignite the flame and everyone's just like, putting their own wood in. But what is your fear, if any, or what are your hopes for your university transition? Let's start with the brothers, because the sisters are always pretty much shy, and then we'll get to you, inshallah. Yes. Tuition costs. MashaAllah. Okay, good. Yes. Living expenses, if you move away from home. Okay. What else? Where are you planning to go, by the way? That's like a half plan. Like, I'm going to have living expenses, but I don't know where I'm going. Okay. What else? Time management. Okay. So we have 3 things: living expenses, time management, and tuition costs. Tuition costs are pretty much... Okay, so I'm going to recommend each and every single one of you, if your parents are millionaires or they're not, take OSAP. Why am I saying this? I get in trouble for this a lot. Taking OSAP, you're signing an interest-bearing loan. When you sign an interest-bearing loan, there's 2 issues. It's like signing a credit card, signing up for a credit card application. When you sign up for a credit card application, what happens is that you're signing an agreement that if you do not pay your payments on time, interest will be incurred upon yourself and you're going to have to pay that interest. Correct? Similar with OSAP, you're signing this agreement, this loan, that says you're getting X amount of dollars, and then 6 months post-grad, you have to pay X amount of dollars back in installments. If you do not pay them back, interest is incurred upon, and you have to pay that interest as well. Okay? The reason why I tell everyone to get OSAP is because there's a lot of grants affiliated with OSAP that you will not be eligible for unless you do not apply for OSAP. So applying for OSAP is huge. I applied for OSAP, my tuition was pretty much free because all the grants knocked off all the loans. I took the loans and I invested it, I took the grants and I paid it towards the university. I'm chilling. Pretty much. My university was free, whatever loans I had, I invested and I'm doing good, alhamdulillah. Financially plan how you're going to go through the next 4 years of your life, what you're going to do with the money. A lot of people, they take that money, Michael Kors bags, Jordans, what is it, like Canada Goose jackets. Like, yo, you hit the jackpot recently. What happened? OSAP. That's not your money. That's not your money. That's an amana. You have to pay that back. And in 4 years down the line, you don't want to be like, oh, I'm zakat eligible now. Can I have some money? You don't want to go through that. So plan out financially exactly what you're going to be doing with that money, how you're going to utilize it, right? And how you're going to pay it back on time. Time management. Time management is all about scheduling, right? Scheduling your day, having a plan for your week. What courses are you taking? How much time you're going to give towards those courses, towards the homework, right? If you're going for tutoring, putting that in, but exercising the importance around how much time you're going to be giving towards your academic life, but also your family life and yourself. You deserve some time. When are you going to be taking a vacation with your OSAT money, right? Well, if it's just even for a weekend to Blue Mountain or something, but you should get some time off, right? Some people take a semester off just to get their head under everything because it's difficult, right? A lot of people go through difficulties. I see it on campus all the time, depression, anxiety. Why? Because we don't know how to manage our time, right? They're up all night, and when you're up all night and then you have to go to class in the morning, you can't function properly because you were up all night trying to do an essay that you should have been doing 4 weeks ago. So planning your time around all of that. What else? Sisters? Anything? Yes? So the question is, how do you balance your school life while balancing your religion? There's no dichotomy. There's no dichotomy between the two, right? You're a Muslim always. You're a student always. So if it comes down for sisters like their hijab and going to school, your hijab stays with you while you go to school. If it comes down to salah and you're in class or in an exam, you have the right to leave your exam to go pray salah and then go back to your exam, right? Your registrar knows about it. You have the multi-faith services on campus to be able to have those exceptions, Jumu'ah on campus. So when it comes down to balancing who you are as a Muslim and who you are as a student, there is no dichotomy, or there shouldn't be. I personally didn't find any challenges within it when I went to university. Yes, you have a lot of fitan, you have a lot of trials, you have a lot of things that can steer you away and distract you from being a Muslim or your Islamic values. 100% you have that. But are you reflecting upon it? Are you doing your dhikr on your way to school, on your way back? Right? Are you actually remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How proactive are you in your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Right? And I think that's what it is. If you go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala walking, He comes to you running. And I think we always have to take that first step in our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, university is going to be difficult. Yes, post-grad is extremely difficult, 100%. And who can make that easy? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rabbi yassir wa la tu'assir. Oh Allah, make it easy for me and not make it difficult for me. But understanding all this cognitively, to be able to reframe that in your head, that I am not getting through this myself. Allah allowed me to get this far. He got me accepted into whatever university I got accepted into. Now I got to take that extra step towards Allah for Allah to get me through all of this. Right? Does that help? Anything else? Yes. How do you deal with failure? Just the way I did. Find some fuel to the fire. Don't give up. Right? It's very easy to give up. A lot of students want to give up and they say, okay, there's a lot going on. I can't handle it. I suffered academic probation. You have unlimited avenues in university to be able to get you out of all of that. You have, let's say, I don't know if you know this, but if you go to the health and wellness center and you say, okay, I wasn't performing to the best of my ability, my functioning was affected. Can you help me? Can you write a letter for me? They'll write a letter for you. So getting out of that slump. But you have to take the first step. You have to be able to sit down, collect yourself, collect your thoughts, not work under emotions. And I tell students all the time, put a chart down, right? A line chart. On one side have the pros and one side have the cons. For everything pretty much that you're making a decision for. How am I going to do this, right? Do I want to quit university now in my first year? Or do I can still raise my GPA? How can I raise my GPA? If I do, what are the pros? If I don't, what are the cons? So you're able to, you have it in front of you, you're able to see it, and you can pick that up, look at it, and say, okay, no, I want to go through this, inshallah, yes.
Okay, so I have two questions. What exactly is GPA? That's my first.
What exactly is GPA? Faasil, what exactly is GPA? Your grade point average. Your grade point average is pretty much, 4.0 is the highest, and then you have 0 is the lowest. So you're aiming for a 4.0 all the time. When you enter university, you're going to go onto your university portal, and you're going to be seeing how your academic marks translate into your grade point average. So you're going to have your sessional average for the session, you're going to have your semestral average for the semester, and then you're going to have your entire program's average. And so you can always raise it to 4.0. Not always, but you can as much as you can. Yes. Any other questions? In the corner, yes.
How do you, what's your advice on starting with all these goals? So time management, or balance with deen and dunya. How do you start? Sure you have these goals or whatever, but what's the steps that you take to start actually putting it into your life?
Start right now, start right here. And the number one thing to be able to help you start is your intention. I intend to start being a better Muslim right now. Right? Why don't we all do that? Let's raise our hand. Let's raise our hand right here, right now. And let's make a promise and an oath to ourselves that I want to be a better Muslim from now on. Our past does not define our future. Today should be better than yesterday, and tomorrow should be better than today. And that's how a Muslim lives their life. So if I prayed 3 salah yesterday, today I should be praying 4, tomorrow I should be praying 5, and it should just continue like that. You should add your sunnah, your nawafil, and so on and so forth. But we should always have that presence, that we're living in the present, better than yesterday, and tomorrow is going to be better than today. Does that help? You just have to ground yourself in that intention. And then once you make that intention, you constantly ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be able to make this path easy for you. Because when you come closer to Allah, the devil works harder on you. The closer you get to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the harder it becomes for you, because shaitan's whispering in your ear. And shaitan's trying to get you off the path. So that's why ihdina sirat al-mustaqim is extremely important, because you have to constantly ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be able to maintain you on that sirat al-mustaqim, on that straight path. Yes? I can't hear you, I'm sorry. No, university is not for everyone. Yeah. No, I agree 100%. So don't feel expected. Do I have any tips for high school students that are not sure if they want to go to university with all the expectations and things like that? A lot of students university isn't for everyone. And this whole elitist, privileged group that pretty much they go to university and they feel some type of privilege, or they feel like they're elite, it's wrong. Sometimes you can graduate with a degree and you won't find a job for the longest time, right? So there's nothing special about going to university, straight up, right? A lot of people go to college, they go into trades, and they're making 6 figures, and that's just how it is. It's the stigma within society that wants our older generation, the parents, to say, okay, son, okay, daughter, go to university, get yourself an education. You can get yourself an education anywhere. The most important thing is getting yourself an education. Because especially as Muslims, we have to be increasing in knowledge always. Whether it's your Islamic education, whether it's secular education, whether you're receiving an education in a masjid, whether it's a college, whether it's a university, but find your niche. Find what you're interested in. And I highly recommend, a lot of people get involved in university programs. Within the first 6 to 8 months, they realize this sucks. Like, I don't like this. I hate it. But I'm doing it because somebody else wants me to do it. Don't do it. Do what you're interested in. If you're interested in becoming a pilot, go for it. In aero mechanics, go into that. Whatever you're interested in, find that. I want to go to George Brown Culinary School. Legit, like, I want to become a chef. I really do. I still do. I can't. What's a sheikh doing becoming like a chef? Like, you know what I'm saying? But I watch Master Chef and Gordon Ramsay. I taught my wife how to cut onions, like, legit. So, like nowadays, a lot of girls, their moms don't teach them about cooking and stuff. So I had to teach my wife. Anyway, sisters, forgive me. But that's how it is. I want to go to George Brown, and you should follow your passions. I was with, I don't know if you guys know him, Sidi Usama Cannon from California, and I had a meeting with him. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him a long life and keep him healthy. He's been diagnosed with ALS. He was asking me about chaplaincy and working as a chaplain at university, and he asked me, do you enjoy it? And I said, yeah. He was like, if there was something else that you could be doing right now instead of university chaplaincy, what would it be? I said, I'd be in culinary school. He said, go for it. Just drop everything and go for it. And I never listened to him. I can't pull myself to do it. I'm not that strong. If I'm married, I have kids, I'm working, I have income coming in, I can't just drop everything and go to culinary school. But right now, maybe some of you, you're in that position where you're still living with your parents, you're being financially assisted. You can drop whatever you're doing and fulfill your passion. And what is your passion? Figuring it out and then going for it. Because if you do what you love what you do, right? And it's just as simple as that. And that's when you become the best at what you do, inshallah. Any other? Yes?
Would you personally recommend people that are leaving high school to just straight up follow what they like doing, or what guarantees them a job, or kind of mix between the two?
Nothing guarantees you a job.
Yeah, but more likely. You know what I mean?
But why can't you have both, is my question. And that's what an academic counseling session would help you figure out. That you have your passion, and you want to take that passion and make money from it as well. Sustain yourself. And how can you do that? If you guys are trying to get to the NBA and you guys are 5 feet tall, be realistic. It's not going to happen. That was me when I was 10 years old. And then I just realized I'm not growing anymore, so forget about it. Right? You have to set some realistic expectations for yourself. Anything else? Yes. Why does your GPA matter? Honestly, when you have the degree, it doesn't matter. While you're in university, it matters a lot. It matters a lot in terms of getting positions to volunteer, getting placement positions. It matters in terms of your responsibilities, your examinations. Sometimes you can't, there are certain elitist courses that you can't enroll into if you have a low GPA. For yourself, it matters because you could have done so much better, right? Yes? Yeah, if you're going for your master's, if you're going to grad school, if you're going to professional school afterwards, you need to have a higher GPA. Yeah, very rarely. Yeah. Yes? So I work as a Muslim chaplain. We have an organization known as the Muslim Chaplaincy of Toronto, where we have chaplains at the Ryerson University, chaplain at University of Toronto St. George campus, and myself at the Scarborough campus, University of Toronto. Chaplains pretty much provide spiritual support to students on campus. So Faasil mentioned we had about 12,500 students on campus at university. 25% is Muslim, or are Muslim. And so you have individuals suffering from anxiety, from depression, Students that don't know how to pray Salah, that want to learn how to pray Salah. Students that are Muslim, but they don't know much about their deen, that want to find out, okay, what does it mean to have one God, or why are angels important or significant in this religion? Tell me what the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, just being there as you. A lot of times what happens is when we get so engrossed into academia, you lose a connection with the masjid. And this is why I want to give it up to you all of you, for coming out to the masjid today. Having a relationship with the masjid is extremely important. When you get to university, or a lot of university students do not have relationship with masajid. They don't. And so taking a chaplain to the university campus is pretty much taking the masjid and all of its services to the university campus to be able to provide that for the students. So you have Salah taking place on campus. You have Jumu'ah taking place on campus. You have counseling sessions. You have the chaplain being a liaison between the university administration and the Muslim students. So for example, if you want more halal food options, or we have a building that's pretty far away, the gym, the Pan Am Center on Morningside, to provide halal food options there. So they'll call me in for a meeting. If there's like Shia, Sunni, Muslim student conflict, like it's at Iraq, but it happens in Scarborough campus, to call me in and be like, okay, let's sort this out, let's have a meeting. Things like that. So it's pretty crazy. No, things happen. Yeah. Yes. Happened. Sorry, things happened. Yeah.
For like people who want to like kind of study Islam, obviously they get their degree. Like, what would you recommend? Like people take a gap year or something like that and study, or like because like some programs are like pretty intense. Like engineering, it's not what you need to like do both. Like what would you kind of recommend? Kind of seriously.
So again, it depends on what program. So sorry, the question is, if a person wants to study Islam but also wants to study in a secular institution, how would they be able to manage and balance both? So again, it depends on what program you're interested in, but I'd highly recommend doing a joint program. So balancing both of them. So as you're progressing in academia, you're progressing as a student of the Islamic sciences as well. There are options in Toronto available. I know with like Al Khalil Academy, they have a part-time Alamiya program. Imam Shakir teaches something in Oshawa for everyone in the East End. So to be able to, those are like evening time classes as well. So to be able to learn Arabic, fiqh, hadith, and then again part-time, and then do your university studies in the morning. To be able to balance both of that. Keep yourself busy. A lot of times what happens is we think we're busy, right? We're taking 4 courses and we have a lot of spare time, so we're watching like 13 Reasons Why, Riverdale, what else is there? Like all these shows, we're Netflix and chilling. Like a lot of students even do it on campus. They'll get like themselves a portable or one of those cubicles, and they'll just be sitting there watching the show, pretending they're doing work with their notebooks and everything else. Like, don't waste your time. Use your time wisely. If you have time, this is a time where your mind is fresh and you're able to retain knowledge, right? Do something. You're at a time where you can influence others and for the positive. So being able to do that, inshallah. So I guess we'll have the question and answer session with the university representatives, MSA reps. Jazakumullah khair. Yes. I can't hear you. Do I have any advice on time management? Mullah Shakir? What's going on? You're my senior. Advices on time management. Again, I mentioned scheduling. I think scheduling is one of the biggest things. It helps me out, and it helps a lot of students out as well. What are you doing throughout the week? So for example, how many courses are you taking? Fill that out within your calendar. Have, what is it, like a register, a calendar, agenda type of thing? What are they called? You know what they're called, right? Those things. So like pulling it, managing your time by having it in front of you, filling it out. For some people, I use my Google Calendar. So I know exactly where time, place, and activity. Where should I be at this time, what I should be doing, and how should I be doing it. And managing yourself that way. And when you have free time, make sure you use your free time wisely for yourself. So if it is Netflix, it is Netflix, because a lot of people need self-care. They need to take care of themselves, get their mind off of things. When I have like a full day of counseling sessions, I'm done. Like I'm going home and I'm going to sleep because my brain is fried, my heart is like black because I've just heard like so much come at me and I'm done, like I'm tired. So I need to have like vacations quarterly, like I need to get out, get away from everything, taking walks in nature, just to be able to clear yourself. So that's how you use your free time. But that's the only time that you have around your schedule where it's not classes, not tutoring, not revision, not homework, not family time, right? And then time for yourself. And you at least minimum, about I'd say 10 to 15%, you should have time for yourself. But have a schedule or agenda where you're able to input all of that to be able to set yourself. And making time, again, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Waking up for Fajr, praying Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha. Making time for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is extremely important. And balancing your university life or your career, whatever it may be, with your spirituality. I hope that helps, inshallah.
Jazakallahu khairan to Shaykh Omar for that kind advices. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us all to benefit from them. So just to close off, inshallah, I know that we did have a Q&A session intended with our panels, but because Salatul Isha is at 7:30, and we still have to get the dinner in, inshallah. So we'll be closing off, and we'll just allow the students to network with the university panelists that were at the front informally, inshallah. So sisters with the sisters that were here, and then the brothers with the brothers that were here, inshallah, during their food session, inshallah ta'ala. So that way we can do both at the same time, inshallah. So just to close off, inshallah, again, it was an honor, alhamdulillah, it was a blessing for us that we're able to put this together. There was a lot of individuals and efforts that went into putting this together. We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts it from everyone. Jazakallah khairan to everybody for coming out and registering. So the Durham Muslim Youth Council, I know this has basically been, the poster has been on there the whole time. It was just a collaboration between university MSAs within the Durham region. So as you heard, UIT and Trent are located within Durham, and as well as different high school MSAs. So we have about 14 different high school MSAs that took part in collaborating with this effort. Too many to list, they're all at the bottom of that poster, as well as masjid youth groups. So we had the Islamic Center of Oshawa youth group, as well as the Pickering Islamic Center youth group and the Masjid Quba youth group. So a whole group of youth coming together, and basically the MSA, because we know that we have multiple MSAs, we have the high school MSAs which are doing great work within their schools, as well as the university MSAs, mashallah. And so a collaboration between the heads or the representatives helped to facilitate this, right? And so it's a beginning, and we intend to have other events, inshallah ta'ala. We have a 3-on-3 basketball tournament, Durham-wide 3-on-3 that we're planning, as well as inshallah a movie and a dinner, right? Some of you might have heard of the movie Tug of War with Buna Muhammad and Muhammad Ziyara. And so inshallah that's a plan that's being put into place to have that at the Oshawa Convention Center. So that's inshallah going to happen. And also we're trying to put together a bake sale where the proceeds go to some needy cause, inshallah ta'ala. So these are events that are planned. We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes them possible. Again, your contribution, your support, by coming out, by spreading the word, right? This is very important. We only have a small percentage of the Muslim students that we actually have in Durham over here, right? We have, maybe Pine Ridge itself can fill up more than, the amount of Muslim students we have in Pine Ridge, or the amount of Muslim students we have in Pickering High, or the Muslim students that we have in Maxwell or Sinclair, right? There's a large number of Muslim students. And like Shaykh Omar and the panelists were talking about, when you get to university, it really open up to you the need to be involved with the Muslim community. It's a very important aspect of it. What Shaykh Omar mentioned, that you have to be connected to your masjid. And a lot of people get disconnected from the masjid once they go into their into their careers. And this is not healthy for them as an individual, and neither is it healthy for their community. And so this is why these type of events are very, very helpful and important. So Khair, these are a few words. Again, we'll just end off with the dua for closing. We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts all of the efforts that were made here. We pray that everything that was said and that was mentioned is something that was beneficial. We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps us to to recognize our deen, recognize our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I think this was another point that was repeated by each individual. And we pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps us to be a means of helps us to connect ourselves to our Creator, and helps us to be a means of serving the creation. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, the best of the people are those that serve the people. And that's not just serving without knowing your Allah, serving while knowing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have to be connected to Allah, like Shaykh Omar mentioned. So we pray that all of these are accepted. We say Jazakallahu khairan to the Pickering Islamic Center for allowing us to have the program over here, as well as the Islamic Center of Oshawa, both of whom came together to support, to take care of the food for the attendees here. So that again, we recognize their efforts, as well as the panelists who came from different universities, as well as to Shaykh Omar. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. We do end a short dua. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم ثبتنا على الإيمان وأمتنا على الإيمان واحشرنا يوم القيامة مع المتقين مع الإيمان. اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما. Allah, all that we learned, Allah, help us to put into practice. Allah, grant us beneficial knowledge, whether it's secular knowledge or Allah grant us, open our hearts to true dini knowledge. Help us to be able to value all the information, education, in a way that it helps us to become closer to you. Allah, whatever our career paths may be, Allah, help us to be those that recognize you and serve your creation for your sake. Allah, bless us with that which brings us closer to you, and protect us from that which makes us distant from you. Allah, accept all the gathering, accept all of those that are here, accept all of those that contributed and supported and organized. Allah, help us to continue making this effort, and grant us sincerity in all that we do. Accept our du'as through your mercy. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم إنا نسألك من خير ما سألك منه نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، ونعوذ بك من شر ما استعاذك منه نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وأنت المستعان وعليك البلاغ ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. وصلي اللهم وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وآله وأصحابه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.